there's a part where they don't know what somebody's saying, and it sounds like they're saying "Oy vey" to the poodles.
Oh.
And I couldn't remember where it was from, so I was hoping you'd remember. Then I remembered.
No, okay. Nope.
I had a whole memory thing all on my own.
Yeah, you did. I hit record, by the way.
We're not officially starting this, are we?
Yeah, we are.
Or is this our test section?
Nope, we're doing it.
So how much of that did the whole world hear?
Just the part after you bubbled it out.
Conversation with myself?
Yeah.
Okay.
You explaining to me what the conversation was.
I guess people should know. I have conversations with myself all the time.
Yeah. I've been meaning to do that, just to click record on the DL.
To see what you get out of my mouth.
Anybody. I'm going to do it every time now.
That's funny. I need to put my phone on vibrate.
Yeah, I already did.
Not that my phone's going to go off.
Where did those flowers come from?
I took them from the church anniversary stuff Sunday to enjoy, and then I will take the jar back when they're dead to Miss Kim.
They're beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Love
Whoever
flowers.
bought them did a very good job.
Yeah. So we're talking about the gospel tonight.
I mean, I feel like my house was appropriately decorated for that.
Christmas is a pagan holiday, Amber. I don't know.
Whatever. It's like I tell our friend Bree's husband, Christmas is about Jesus, and I'm thankful for Jesus, so I can celebrate him whenever I want to. I don't have to wait till after Thanksgiving. My house threw up with snowmen everywhere.
There are snowmen everywhere.
Everywhere. One of them giggles and farts.
Fantastic.
My parents have the same one.
A giggling, farting snowman.
Yeah, I can't wait to show it to Charles.
That's
and
wonderful.
Play it for him and see what he does.
That is wonderful. So, the gospel.
The gospel. So, we both posted on our individual socials. And my neighbor's daughter's waving at us. She's looking in the window. She's so sweet. And on our We Who Were Not, we both posted our gospel message. But how that came about is I came across a guy on TikTok who took Forrest Frank's idea of let's saturate the world with the gospel, social media with the gospel on Halloween. And like several big creators and big people on social media got a hold of it. And there was a whole hashtag. And so it led to us discussing the gospel. So,
did you look at any of the other videos that day?
Not that day, but I have occasionally gone and looked. There was a lot.
What platform were you looking on?
TikTok, Twitter, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
Facebook is really the only place I looked. And there were some there, but they're not really that many, all things considered.
Yeah, there's more on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because I looked it up and it told me how many I gotta turn my volume way off just in case I accidentally make it have volume. How many people used hashtag gospel gone viral.
See, the original post you sent me was gospel goes viral.
Yeah, but you sent me gospel gone viral.
No, I did not.
Yes, you did.
That's not, it doesn't matter. I don't think that's what the screenshot said. It doesn't matter.
I got it wrong. Let me see what gospel goes viral.
I could have done it wrong too. It really doesn't matter. I just heard it.
You just heard what?
A voice.
Oh, it's the kids outside playing.
Yes. I had to stop and listen to verify.
Yeah, there's a lot on here for, we're just doing something so silly and random to find the answer. I don't care.
Maybe I didn't send it all. I don't know. I thought I sent it in Signal, but I don't know if I did or not.
You sent it in the Thursday night group, I think.
It's not in there.
Gospel goes viral. Gospel goes viral has 399 posts. Gospel gone viral has 99 posts. What does just straight gospel have? Just the hashtag gospel has 12 million posts.
Yeah, but that's from...
I know it's from all time, but like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And there could have been a bunch of people who did it and didn't actually use the hashtags. I don't know.
Anyway.
Now that we've rabbit holed down that.
The point was, Amber and I had talked, Amber thought it would be beneficial to sit down and talk about the gospel in a more relaxed where we don't have to soundbite 60-second to get people's attention kind of way. And
Mine was like 5 minutes.
mine was like 3 minutes, but still, like
Yeah.
you wanted to make those short.
Yeah.
And talk about like some of the definitions, like things that people would have heard and words and whatnot.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. I had intended to like take each word and be like, hey, you probably heard the word sanctified. What does that mean? Like, you probably heard this word, and I never got to it. Work got excessively busy, and babysitting my baby nephew just takes on.
I didn't really, when I was looking through the videos, I didn't really see on Facebook anyways. I didn't see those words being thrown around a whole lot.
I didn't see them, but I also like didn't find the overly preachy, super religious people trying to like make it sound holier than thou or whatever.
Fair
I don't
enough.
know.
So sum up the gospel. Now that we're 6 minutes in, what's the gospel, Amber?
The gospel is the good news, is what it means. And so the gospel is the good news of Jesus, which is I'm gonna tell it to you like my best friend. That's what I had to make myself do when I posted. Which is God coming down as man to restore a relationship. And the only way to God is through Jesus and his death and resurrection.
Okay, cut, copy. We're done. 6 minutes. We got it.
Great. Shortest podcast on record. So we had an interesting conversation. And I think we talked about it a little bit with Kathan's episode but you and I in depth kind of had a conversation on text about how you didn't realize people don't know what the gospel is.
Yeah, so in preparation for doing that video, I was like, I'm just going to ask some people what they think it is so I can respond to whatever they said. And I sent just the question, like, if someone told you to tell them the gospel, what would you say? And the first person answered, well, what is the gospel? And it's like, what do you mean, what is the gospel? And the other two, they had Kathan and Lunchbox are the other two I asked. And they knew the story, but didn't know how to answer specifically. The Kathan was like, what do you mean? Like a summation of it all? Or what do you want from me?
But that was an answer. Like,
it was an answer, yes.
Like, that was a huge, glaring red flag to us as believers.
Yeah. Yeah. I evidently came off sounding condescending to Kathan, and I didn't mean to, but what I was trying to get at is it, to me, I just sat there like, wow, we're doing a really bad job if people don't know what the gospel is.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's because, sorry, Stephen. We have switched from a culture of everyone's supposed to share the gospel to just get them into church.
Well, now I'm wondering too if we're not just all operating under the assumption that people know what it is.
Yeah, here in America, because we were primarily a Christian nation, but I'm going to say it, our parents, their generation, because of trauma that happened to them, stopped taking their kids to church.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're back to a point where people don't know what the gospel is.
Right. But then I heard this, and I've been pondering it, so we're just going to flesh it out here live. Sorry if I'm driving y'all crazy tonight. It's fine. The church isn't for the lost.
Right.
The culture shift decades ago was the church is a hospital. The church is a hospital. No. Jesus said, I have come for the sick. I have come. Like, would you not take the sick to the hospital? I'm Amber paraphrasing here. Don't come at me if you know what it actually says. He says, I have, not the church. Nowhere have I read, and we'll finish by the end of the year, in the Gospels where it says that the church itself is for the lost. The church was the gathering after they were saved. Every letter Paul wrote was to churches, to people who knew the Lord, which is why he could be so dang harsh. And so we have switched it from The church is where we disciple and we grow and we push and we like you and I, we can push each other and go, hey, like, is that what you're supposed to be doing? Are you living according to what God is calling you to be? Are you living according to the Bible? Church has become this, let's go in, let's give a fluff message. Let's, again, sorry, Stephen. My brother's pastor, like, not that he's going to listen to this, but if he ever does one day, sorry, Stephen. Let's give a fluff message to make sure the lost can understand it. When actually church was the place where they iron sharpened iron, where they dug in and they tried to understand and they read Paul's letter and they dissected it and they went, oh yeah, I see this. We're failing in that aspect because we're relying on the church to do it. We're not going out there and speaking the truth and the gospel in our everyday lives.
I've never thought of it that way.
I've been pondering it for a couple of weeks.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Church is for believers.
Mm-hmm. It's our place to iron sharpen iron and go out from. And once we have discipled, we're not making converts. We're making disciples, which means transformation. So once we make a disciple, that means walking with them from the moment you meet them till who knows when, but at least until they know the Lord. And that's what making a disciple is.
So what does that transition look like from telling someone the good news and they're like, okay, I want to know more, to being a member of, I'm air quoting this, a member of the church? Like what happens, what should be happening?
The answer is I don't know right now. Because for the longest time, it's they accept the Lord, they just come to church, they sit in church. And then you get a church full of people who don't tithe,
Mm-hmm.
who don't serve, who just show up and then leave. Their lives, they might love the Lord desperately, but you can see in the things they do in their lives that he is not number one. It could be sports, it could be a job, it could be this event, it could be that event, but he is not number one in their lives because it's all about checking that Sunday morning box off or that Saturday night box off or whenever you go to church. And so I don't know what it would look like if, like, I'm just going to pick on Kathan because it's one, easy.
I'm sure he's fine with it.
Also, too, I was going to say he'd be fine with it. Like, the prayer is that God would put a Christian, strong, solid Christian man who loves the Lord in his life right now. And that man, no matter what Kathan said, no matter how many times Kathan dropped an F-bomb, would not give up on Kathan. And then once Kathan knows the Lord, speaking that life, he would then walk with him as he grows and as he continues. And it wouldn't just be to get him in the doors of the church, but yeah, they would go to church together. I feel like Christianity in America right now is let me just do it to get you into the doors of the church.
Yeah.
Like, because almost every pastor I have sat under has said, oh, just invite him to church and I'll do the rest. Sorry, what?
Well, yeah, and like, what does that mean?
What are you going to do?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I also think discipleship is like you and I, our friendship. Granted, it's more friendship than discipleship, but like the accountability partners and, like newer believers. We have some newer believers in our group. And so walking alongside of them and being encouraging and being their sounding board when they don't know what to do.
So I think I know what you mean, but this is an opportunity to dig in. Tell me exactly what you mean by discipleship.
I mean, living life together and being able to speak truth and be honest. So like there's two camps of discipleship. There's this camp that is you need to know all of the church language, eschatology, and sanctified, and all of these things about the church and the Bible, and you're discipled because you know that. But then there's this other camp, and a lot more people are falling into this camp right now, where it is relationship. It is walking alongside. And so where that comes from is in the Bible, when a young boy turned 12, he would either go into his father's business or he would go follow a rabbi. And he'd follow in the footsteps of the rabbi. And so that's that relationship. Like he would know what to do because he watched and he did it with the rabbi. or he would know what to do with his father because he followed in the footsteps of his father. So like a newer believer you would come alongside and you would like in this relationship discipleship, because we've got to differentiate now. Or someone who's not a believer, you would just live life with them and you would speak truth and you would live out the gospel and you would speak it and you would call them up to more. Specifically with like a newer believer, you would just do life together and you would be a sounding board. And when there was a decision to be made, you would be the one they would call or reach out to and go, hey, like, I don't know what to do about this, or this is where I'm struggling, or this is what sin I'm walking in and I'm really hating, or whatever that is.
So when Lunchbox said that it is like an apprenticeship, that pretty much nails it.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's like I said, there's two schools. There's this side that discipleship is being able to quote all of the scriptures or quote or explain all of these big biblical terms. That's not discipleship. That's Pharisee and Sadducee crap.
Do you think there are facets of that to discipleship though?
Yes. Like in your life, I bet in your life as you've read the Bible and you've grown closer to God, you've discovered some of those things that put pieces together.
Oh, yeah.
Like you understand what baptism is. You understand what communion is. You understand what some of these different things are. If that's all your discipleship is to understand those, we've missed the boat.
We're not talking about the gospel.
We kind of are though, because Jesus didn't say, go make converts. He said, go make disciples. And that's Jesus's command from the gospel.
How would you differentiate between a convert and a disciple?
A convert is somebody who believes because they were told to believe so they wouldn't go to hell. It wasn't a genuine, like, I met the Lord, I know the Lord situation. And a disciple is someone who knows the Lord, who's met the Lord. And granted, I'm not saying people who convert are not saved, but I don't think they're disciples yet.
Well, conversion is just like a moment.
Yes.
It's not an ongoing
thing. It's the first step, but there's people who convert and nothing ever changes in their life. If you're following in the footsteps of somebody and being an apprentice of someone, specifically in the Bible times a rabbi, your life is going to start to look and act and be like them. It's like you and I hang out, and the more we hang out, we start mimicking each other, and mannerisms are the same. Or like when I'm around my family or my Texas friends, I get a Southern draw that's, I don't know where that came from. So like you start to mimic the people you're around. And that's kind of what this is. The more time you spend with the Lord and put people in your life who are spending as much time or more than you with the Lord, you all start to look like God together.
Why is the gospel important?
Because it's God's plan to bring relationship back with him.
Let me sharpen that a little bit. Why is it important for Christians to be able to communicate effectively what the gospel is to people?
Because if we don't follow in obedience. Like I'm guilty of it as anybody else, that walking up to someone or having conversation with someone or being blunt with someone, like, it's terrifying and hard. Like talking to the stranger at Walmart when the Lord says, talk to them about me, talk to them about me, talk to them about me, is scary because you don't want to be rejected. You don't want to be hurt. But if we don't start, and I'm talking to myself here when I say we, don't start speaking the gospel, we're not following the call in our lives, and we are leaving opportunity. Now, granted, God doesn't need me. Thanks God for not needing me, but wanting me to do this. Appreciate that. We're leaving opportunity for people to see that the gospel isn't just about getting out of hell. Like, oh, I got my ticket out of hell, I'm going to heaven. Like, that's not the gospel. The gospel is relationship with God was destroyed at the beginning with sin. And it has been a fight to find how to make that relationship happen. And the only way for it to happen, so you could live in relationship with God, is God in the form of man, who is Jesus, had to come down and die. and pay the penalty for all wrath and sin so that we could live in a relationship with him. Does that mean we get to spend eternity with him and be like the angels and never die? Yes, it does. But we are not angels. We are like them with eternal life now.
I've seen it described that angel is, it's not what they are. It describes what they do.
An angel is a messenger. An angel doesn't have free will.
Right. That's their job title. It's not like their species, so to speak.
Yeah. But we are different. Angels, and you're not going to go to heaven to become an angel.
Well, right.
Sorry, sidetracked. My bad. Focus.
That was my sidetrack. I did that one.
No, I started it. Okay. We're going to argue over who's
Let's not do that.
Focus, Amber. But the gospel is more than just about heaven. And I think that's what people miss, because maybe it was Lunchbox or it was Kaiten, but like they were like, well, I'll just wait until I'm dying and then great, I've accepted him, I can go to heaven. I don't know if either of them said that, but I get that from people. The gist of that was in one of our conversations with them, the first conversation with them.
I remember one of them bringing it up, like,
I don't know which one it was.
I think both of them brought it up in the way that they don't like that is possible. Or not that it's possible, but that is the way that
you can be a horrible human being and
the way that
Jesus on your deathbed.
The way that they understand Christianity is that yes, you can be a horrible person up until the point of your dying, and then you can just say, Jesus, forgive me, and then all is good. And I know that is a false preconception that a lot of people have about Christianity.
Right. But that's because we preach a gospel that is accept Jesus so you can go to heaven, accept Jesus so you can have good things, accept Jesus so we can give you good gifts.
Right.
We don't preach the gospel that is Jesus is the only way to relationship with the Father. And then full stop, period. That's what the gospel is. And then are there blessings because God is our Father and God is good and he wants to give us good things? Absolutely. But is it absolutely hard? Absolutely. I like that word tonight, apparently.
Absolutely. The way I still see it, have seen it since I rededicated, is Jesus is the key. He is the key to, frankly, everything. Every path that I poke at, the questions inevitably lead back to, is Jesus God? That's it. That's like the most divisive. That I would argue it is the most divisive question in human history. Jesus,
absolutely.
He is the centerpiece of existence.
Like we've been reading in the Gospels, the triumphal entry, the last week of Jesus's life. And it's known in church circles. I'm backing my brain up to explain because I know we have people who have never been to church and don't understand or never heard this before. So when Jesus lived, the last week of his life was one of his biggest weeks of ministry. Like most of his miracles, most of his teachings, most of his stuff is in that section, in that last week. And he had what is known as in church circles as the triumphant entry, which we celebrate on Palm Sunday, which is the Sunday before donkey, Easter. Right? And he rode into town on a colt, not a donkey, a colt.
Oh.
And a unridden colt was signified that it was a king. Like there was some really cool symbolism to that I'll have to dig into and then I can post about right after this episode comes out.
You keep saying that.
I'm going to make it a note, okay? I'm going to do it. I'm going to schedule it. I might even be in the same clothes I am tonight, but you guys don't know what I'm wearing, so it wouldn't matter. And so in that week, this is what we basically read this last week, and we're going to work through some of this week, and then we're going to get to the crucifixion. Only because I did all of the questions from the book today for the next 9 days. Jesus pushed back with the Pharisees and the Sadducees a whole time. They could not accept that he was God. And he was the Messiah that they had been looking for because they had diluted and twisted and put their own spin on, like we all do, the gospel and the salvation and the law and the Torah, and they couldn't accept it. And so they had to push him away. But if they didn't, and he would have died either way, but like God needed it to play out this way so that he would die. But even back then, when he walked among them, people could not see that he was God, could not accept it, and did not want to.
Even the apostles who were with him every day struggled with, I don't know that they struggled with believing he was God, but probably right a little bit, because he controlled the weather, and they're still like, I don't know if I can drive out demons. I don't know if
yeah. Like I think they struggled with. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
I interrupted you. I'm sorry. I think they struggled with, can I be like him? Like, he is perfect, omnipotent. I think Judas knew, and I think Judas might have struggled because he was so willing to.
You know what I've never caught before that
What?
I caught when I was going to bring it up last night and forgot. That it said that he was stealing from them. That Judas stole from the coin purse or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I've never caught that before.
We read the story last week, and I don't know if you got that far, about the woman who washes Jesus' feet with her tears and anoints his feet instead with oil. And in that story, I think it might be part of that story that you're talking about, but like Judas was like, do you know how much we could do with this money?
Yes.
Like Judas's heart was greedy for money, and that's part. Jesus says you can't serve two masters. You can't serve money and me. But even the disciples struggled with it. Like, and they were literally ate meals with Jesus. They probably told jokes with Jesus.
Do you think Judas actually believed, or he was just, he could see benefit for himself? This sounds like a saw.
It's probably a motorcycle.
Sounds like a chainsaw.
The noises outside my house or something else. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I couldn't even begin to speculate on it, because when he realized what he had done, he took the money back, but they wouldn't take it, and so he bought a piece of land and hung himself.
I didn't even consider that until I read that little bloop in that story where it talks about him stealing from the coin purse.
I wonder if that was his, like, love of money was his thorn on the side. Like, we all have that one thing that no matter how much we submit to God, we will always struggle with it. It will always be a temptation. It will always be before us.
Well, yeah, and obviously that's a big one, because he freaking offed himself.
Well, yeah, I think I would want to off myself too if I'm the one who...
If you sold out someone you love?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It'd be really hard. And then there's us that we're sitting here going, but they literally walked with Jesus. They were right next to him. How could they not believe, right? Like, how many times has somebody said to you, what if Jesus would sit down next to you right now?
Right.
Like, I've gotten spicy a little bit in my, last couple of years. We literally have the Holy Spirit inside of us. He is all around us. He is right here. Like, we have him and we don't utilize him.
Well, even so, going back just a little bit to this came to mind while we were just talking. Because of humans and the nature of this reality, I would, you can't be 100% sure of anything here, because that's just how it's built. So that tiny little sliver of like, well, but maybe the apostles definitely had that too. Because what came to mind is when they were in the boat on the storm and they're freaking out that they're going to die.
Yeah.
And you think about that and you're like, but they have God on board. Why would they think they're going to die if they had God on board?
Dude, why are you sleeping?
Yeah. But that would be that tiny little sliver of doubt. It's like, we're going to die, even though, like, he can't save us from this.
That sounds like me a lot. I'm just saying, like,
the stories of the apostles and their unbelief are definitely pointed at us now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But
there's some comfort.
Sorry, that was awkward.
There's some comfort for me in that even the apostles had that even they struggled with their belief. They were with him. They could touch him. They lived life with him, and they still struggled with unbelief.
I mean, Thomas, after he rose from the dead, was like, till I can touch this hands and holes in his side, I'm out. Like, I'm not going to believe it's him.
Oh, my throat just made a weird noise.
It's fine. I mean,
it won't pick it up. It doesn't pick up any of the weird noises. I think it does, but then the editing gets rid of the weird noises.
Well, that's good, because I make a lot of them.
So now we just sound like crazy people talking about weird noises that nobody else can hear.
That's okay. We've said raw and honest. If you were to think about some of the craziest, no, not craziest, some of the things you've heard in church, like, I'm just going to throw it out there, the word sanctified, which we talk about a lot. It's that refiner's fire. It's the silver thing. Like, you and I have covered sanctified. Are there things that you've heard in church or heard Christians say, or when you're scrolling the reels or the YouTube shorts or whatever it is, that you come across that people are talking and you hear big church words and you're like, what does this mean?
I'm the wrong person to ask about that, because if I hear a word I don't know, I look it up immediately.
Well, that's good. Glad you do.
I am a word nerd, Amber.
I know your hand says word nerd. I'm fully aware. This is why you do all the wordy things for us, because
I'm the wrong person to ask that question.
Well, I just think about like my thought about like what are people hearing with the gospel where they're like, what is sanctified? What is this? What is that? And my brain can't recall them. But there's a lot of churchy words we use. Like,
well, if you notice, I tried to bait people into getting their response to this on Facebook, but we're operating in no man's land still, so nobody's answering.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's okay. I've decided it's an opportunity to get really weird today. I was just going to see what happens.
I just need to be weird with you. That's the problem.
Yeah. There was just a moment today where it's like, nobody's watching. I can do whatever I want here. So I did whatever I posted a few times today. I'm like, I'm going to do whatever I want here.
I don't even think I've seen them yet.
That's okay.
I was snuggling a baby all morning.
That's okay. Yeah. So just, there's like 2 people that see. So one of them is my sister.
And someone else.
Yeah.
My mom's liked a couple of our things.
Sometimes, yeah.
Random sidetrack. Sorry, people. My mom hasn't listened yet, but she follows our stuff. She's asked me some questions.
Like what kind?
About you.
About me?
Yes.
What does that mean?
She's like, what does Jessica believe? Like Jesus? Like, but fun conversations. So I really want you to come to Bible journaling class, and then I'm going to put you near my mom so you two can chat. Or we just had my mom on the podcast. I think that's what we need to do, is just have my mom on the podcast.
Now I'm just wondering, what's
it's not in a bad way, like just the way you post things made her think and made her wonder, and I was like, no, she's fine, Mom, I promise.
Well, depends on your definition.
I mean, we're about to make a bunch of Holy Bruto shirts, so it fits. What other questions do you want me to answer for the gospel situation?
I can't think of any right now. We're just gonna have to keep talking and see if more stuff comes up.
So, in your experimenting of asking people, hey, what's the gospel? Because you have all the non-believing friends, and I have all the believing friends. Did that shift anything to where you want to be more bold?
I don't know that bold is the word I would use. I would say more straightforward. Because anybody that has talked to me for more than 5 minutes, including the men I work with, everybody knows if you talk to me for more than 5 minutes, you're going to hear about God. Like, it comes up. I can always bring it up in conversation. Always.
You're so good at that.
But after asking those 3 people what the gospel is, and all of 3 of them being like, what? I need to be more straightforward in sharing the gospel situation.
Me too. Problem is I don't have unbelieving friends, except for Kathan, and Kathan just knows that I'm just going to say it how it is. It's fine.
Well, but yeah, we should be applying that to everybody.
Yeah. And I was like thinking even like the people, like when you walk through Walmart, if you ever go into Walmart, because I hate going into Walmart. Not sponsored. Said it like four
Hashtag not
times.
spawn.
Um, talking to the strangers in Walmart about it too. Like 2 or 3 months ago, I was with Mom in Walmart. Won't come out of my brain. And we were in the clearance aisle and somebody else in the clearance aisle. And this guy was definitely an extrovert. And my mom's kind of more extroverted than I am. And which is so funny. Mom and him started talking and I was just doing my own thing and I was looking at bird feeders because I didn't want to be a part of it. My mom goes, so question, do you know Jesus? Just straight blunt forward. And I was like, oh, okay, I see where this is going. And they ended up having a really good conversation and Mom got to encourage him and his wife. And but I was like, okay, am I bold enough? Am I brave enough? Am I straightforward enough to trust that if I were to look at someone in Walmart or at the gym and strike up conversation with people and say, hey, do you know Jesus? God is going to be in that because clearly people in America don't know what the gospel is and they don't know who Jesus is.
Right. I've never felt the push to do that though.
I have not either. So I don't know why I'm feeling weird about it.
I mean, you've watched me. I will talk to strangers. I'll see something about someone. It's like, oh, I like that. And that is more in line with what I have been compelled to do so far. Because I like talking so much, it is more important to me that I am walking the walk. And that when people look at me and the life I'm living, that they can see, oh, she has been transformed by this thing that she says she believes.
Oh, it's a both and for sure. Absolutely. Because if you're at the bars getting drunk every night and doing drugs and saying you're a Christian and you're like, and you're cheating on your wife and you're watching porn and you're cheating on your husband and you're whatever, like you're being the biggest gossip in church. Are you really though?
Right.
Like you're saved, but are you transformed?
Right. I guess because I feel so comfortable just talking about crazy stuff with whomever will talk with me about it.
Yeah.
For me personally, it feels more important I feel more convicted about, the way I'm living my life than how I'm speaking to people. Cause there's still stuff happening today that it's like, gosh, if someone saw me doing this, they'd be like,
right?
Really, Jessica?
Samesies.
Yeah.
Something silly God convicted me of about 3-4 months ago at the gym. Actually, not the gym, but everywhere. So, sorry, Stephen.
He's catching all the strays this episode.
Well, if he ever listens, I don't want him to like take it personally. I'm trying to like love my brother well right here. At my church, it is very authentic. Like you walk in and you're okay to talk about your problems. My brain took it to a place, I'm going to own this, where it is like if you're having a bad day, just tell people you're having a bad day is basically what is said at the church. Like you don't have to hide it. You can just tell people when they ask, oh yeah, it's been a really bad day or it's been a really bad week or whatever. And so I caught myself walking into the gym.
I just went live on Facebook.
Okay. Was not expecting that.
We're going to do this and see if anybody shows up.
Great.
I told you weird thing on Facebook. So keep talking.
Okay. Sorry. My brain, you don't need to show me. You do not need to show me. I look like I worked out today and I did not change my clothes.
Because you did work out today.
I did. So the manager at the gym intentionally knows people's names. And I don't know why, but it's awkward to me to talk to him. I don't understand why.
He intentionally knows people's names?
Yeah, like he knows almost everybody's name.
And you feel weird talking to him?
Yes. Okay. Don't know why. So for like months, when I would go when he was there, he'd be like, how are you? I'm like, oh, I'm alive today. I'm alive today. Or like, I made it to the gym today. And God was like, why are you speaking this way? you are a believer. You have the joy of the Lord. You have my strength. You are in relationship with me. And so it switched from that, like it was probably a month of me fighting with God, to, well, I just need to be honest. Well, no. Guess what? You're up. You're out of bed. You're able to go to the gym. And so for probably the last 2 months, every time, like the morning crew, I love those young adults. They are like Gen Zers. They are delightful. They are wonderful.
There's nobody in here. Finish. Okay.
We could have kept going.
No, that's okay. I didn't want to sit here and I just needed to do, I told you, I'm being weird on the Facebook.
They're fine. I can talk to them. I don't know why I can't talk to the manager. It's a weird thing. Anyways, them I'm great with. Like I invited one of the gals that works at the gym to come to Bible study. I forgot to ask her yesterday if she was coming, but whatever. And anyways, so about a month and a half ago, I just changed it. Anytime anybody at that gym asked me how I was like, you know, good morning, or I'm good, or I'm really glad to be here, or whatever it is, with this switch of like, I get to go to the gym. It might hurt and it might stink and I might not actually want to go do it, but I get to go to the gym and I get to work on my health. And so I'm going to switch how I speak. And I noticed that it's starting to make it less weird, that I'm not being grumpy about being there. So I don't know. It's just that God's convicting me of how I speak. Yes, life may be hard. The whole world doesn't need to know it. And you can still be good even if life is hard. Not that that has anything to do with gospel, but we're talking about God convicting us and living our lives in a way that reflects that.
It has to do with the gospel because we believe the gospel, so God convicts us of stuff.
Yeah.
We're in a relation with him. So like a parent, he thumps us on the head when we're being
naughty.
Yes, naughty. A whole bunch of words went through my head, but naughty,
saw that.
Naughty's probably the best one.
I saw that Rolodex.
Yeah.
So I was like, naughty, like, but that's what it is the gospel is more than just like the key being Jesus. The gospel is this relationship, like it ends in this relationship with God that changes your life. And I see this thing on social media, and it's going to pop back up now that I've talked about it. I'm going to talk about it of, so you think I'm weird for being a Christian? What does it hurt that I no longer drink? I no longer do drugs. I no longer do this. And like in all honesty, what does it hurt? Like,
right.
If you believe in Jesus and you go, okay, then what does it hurt if your life changes?
Well, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't. But what does hurt is when you get to the other side and you've passed on and you're standing before God and he goes, I never knew you.
Or even more immediate than that, what hurts is, this is true for believers and non-believers. When you see someone living the way that they're supposed to be living and you feel conviction for your stuff.
Yeah. And there is this narrative of the gospel out there that is prosperity gospel is the way that it's called, but it's this, if I do X, Y, and Z, I will get A, B, C. And that's a very dangerous game to play.
Yeah, the prosperity gospel is really new agey.
Yeah.
They, that's the name it and claim it stuff. And your words have power. Like they walk that fine line of manifestation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like, and universe, and what is the one with like the star and moon sign stuff or whatever? Astrology?
Yes.
Okay. I always confuse astrology and astronomy.
Astrology is the
and so
nutty one.
Like it starts to muddy into the gospel.
See, so I have wondered though, when it comes to like the prosperity gospel is easy to pick on, but just what you were talking about with, you felt convicted at going to the gym and telling people, speaking life into the situation, basically. And I was going to ask you that, and rabbit trail. This is a rabbit trail. How do you feel about the when Christians talk about our words having power, like where is the line that is where it becomes heretical? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
So here's what I believe and have seen and known to be true. I believe that our words cut and our words have power. So I could look at Jessica and say, I think I said it last night, that your hair is gorgeous right now. Or I could look at you and go, wow, it looks like you gained weight. Not saying that.
No, I know.
Like, please don't hear that. Or I could make a snide comment about whatever, like something that is part of who you are or attached to you, like your vehicle or your home or whatever.
Calling me Satan for rescuing a spider.
There you go. What did that do to you?
It borderline wrecked me.
More than borderline.
There for a minute. It really, I want to say the F word right now, and I'm really trying not to, but I mean, the truth is it fucked me up. Being told that really messed with me a lot, deeply, because words have power.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, do I believe that I can sit here and say I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a millionaire? No. But what I say has power to change the dynamic of how someone believes in themselves, or how someone finds joy, or like, if you're having a bad day and I don't know, and I know you well enough, but like, if you're in the grocery store and someone is frustrating the snot out of you because they're maybe not walking fast enough, or maybe they're taking too long to look, your choice is slow down, move on. The world is not about you. Then be patient with people and be kind to people. Or you don't know what's going on in their life and you decide to be a jerk and you decide to tell them off and you decide to like be annoyed at them and huff at them, and then maybe that person just found out that somebody in their life died, or maybe they lost a job, or maybe they're deciding between ketchup or mustard because they can't afford both. And what you did just piled on and made it worse. Versus if you took the time to be kind and patient, maybe that was a little bit of joy they needed, that they were struggling and somebody didn't push them or force them or whatever. And that was the first glimmer of kindness that they've had. Like those are powers, like being called Satan in a joking manner, which never should happen.
You saying all that is what is coming to mind is the first sentence of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. Mm-hmm. And the Word is Jesus.
Yep.
And the Bible talks a lot about the Word being a sword.
Yep.
So precise that it can cut bone from marrow and spirit from soul. And the power of our words is that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
It's not manifestation. I mean, so let's see if I can get this out of if I can birth this thought egg into
great.
This
we
realm.
Will ask clarifying questions if we're confused.
So manifesting, obviously, it's a big thing in New Age, and it's a big thing in like pagan practices. And I've thought a lot about people. There's a specific thing coming to mind. I had a friend that was showing me a TikTok of a girl who was casting curses on her ex-boyfriend because he was a cheater, whatever. He was a terrible person, her story. And my friend's response to that was like, well, basically, fuck around and find out. But it got me thinking about how vain it is for us to take that situation into our own hands. And that magic and new agey stuff and that manifesting stuff is really egotistical, because it is us operating from a place of believing we know the best outcome for the situation and interfering with other people's free will. And you'll talk to people who practice magic, and they will say, I mean, some will, some won't, will say that whatever magic they do doesn't interfere with other people's free will. But I don't even think that's possible.
The magic side of it?
Yes.
Well,
Not interfering with other people's free will. Because even, so talking about the word thing,
yeah.
or just speaking, even as Christians, everything we do affects other people's free will. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it inhibits it, sometimes it encourages it, sometimes it just like causes it to swerve a little bit. But for me, one of the big tenets of dying to self is recognizing that everything I do and everything I say affects the world and the people around me.
Absolutely it does.
So I don't know. What do you take from what I just bumbled out of my mouth?
Everything I do and everything I say affects the world around me. Like you bumbled it well. I want to go back a smidge to the people who cast curses and do magic, mm-hmm. and they don't affect people's free will. It made me think about when Moses went back to set the people free. God used Moses in Exodus to set his people free in Egypt. The magicians were casting the same spells as Moses. God was using Moses to do miracles, and it did inhibit the people's free will.
Right.
Like, even to the point of like, eventually they stopped, but like all of those plagues that God did inhibited the people's free will.
Right.
Like when when the Nile was turned to blood, the magicians did it too. Well, now there's no drinkable water.
Right.
When like there's multiple things that happened. They literally took people's choice away.
Well, that's exactly it. So believing that you're not affecting other people's free will is arrogant, because you cannot see all the mechanisms behind what fell into place to make whatever thing you wanted to manifest happen.
Right. And honestly, I think about the fact that Satan is going to take things 1 degree off.
Right.
And so manifestation is speaking into existence what you want. I manifested a new job. I manifested a new car. I manifested a new house. I manifested a great man. That's where Satan wants people.
Right. Right. To believe that we have. So this is entering kind of murky territory. So stop me if we're getting too far off base here. But I don't know how to. I'll just flop this out there. So, one of the things I have heard people, non-believers, talk a lot about is that, like one of the reasons drugs are looked upon or magic is frowned. One of the reasons drugs are frowned upon or like magic is frowned upon is because we have a lot of power, and the powers that be don't want us to fully recognize that power. Do you see any kernels of truth in that statement?
Restate it one more time for me.
That humans we're powerful, that we can affect reality around us. And the way that it's been framed, but this isn't necessarily part of what I'm thinking about, but the way that I've heard it framed is like drugs or magic. Mm-hmm. That those things are frowned upon because the powers that be don't want us to fully realize our own power.
And you're saying non-believers are saying this?
Non-believers, and there's a sect of Christians that say it as well.
And when we say powers that be, are we referring to God or?
Most of the time, it's like the government.
Oh.
Or like the shadow people, the Illuminati. There are some people who will say God, yes, that God doesn't want us to fully realize how powerful we are. But what I have tried to suss out of that whole situation is, do you think that humans are powerful?
In our own strength, absolutely not. Because I think if we were powerful, we wouldn't need God. If we were powerful, we would easily not fall into temptation.
So I think we talked about it in the hard questions episode 6, I think it was, that we are capable of both ends of the spectrum. With God, we are capable of great things. Without God, we are capable of horrific nightmare things.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about that in the Halloween episode too.
Yeah.
That's where I was thinking was, we on our own are not powerful. We either get the ability to be powerful and speak life and truth and cast out demons and do miracles because God says we can. We just don't have the faith to do it. At least it's not been my gifting and calling, and I've never had the faith to do it. Let me phrase that. Or we all know people who made deals with the devil.
Okay, I'm going to rabbit trail again because I pushed you on this at Bible study, but we've talked about it here, so I'm going to push you here too. One of the things that I have seen talked about a lot in the prosperity gospel and the New Apostolic Reformation movement is the faith thing, that people aren't casting out demons and healing because they don't have enough faith. But the Bible says it only takes a mustard seed size of faith to move a mountain. And that's a very small amount of faith. So does that mean we have less than that? Because I struggle with that one because personally it has been used against me as a means of like shaming me into not feeling like I'm being a good enough Christian.
Like that you don't have enough faith because you're not doing X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Like, okay, so I keep thinking about this. Yes, with faith we can move a mountain. Yes, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead lives inside of us. So we could cast out demons and heal people. Like, God could use us to do that. However, he says not all gifts are for all people. And so you have faith. What is your mountain? What is the thing that he's called you to do and have faith to do? The difference, I think, is, because I've thought about this as you pushed it at Bible study, is not everybody's callings are the same.
Right. The only reason I've thought about it a lot, and I started thinking about it after the first time I watched the American Gospel movie, and that's not true. It was before that even, because I sat down and I was watching a panel of these old men. One of them was Todd White, and they were talking about, like someone had asked a question about, I'm sick and I can't get healed. And their response is, well, you just don't have enough faith. And that is that's a defeating answer. That's like a shaming someone answer. And I didn't seem like the right way to handle it.
So have you ever listened to, I don't remember his name, Benny Hinn's nephew?
A little bit, mostly on the American Gospel documentaries.
He was on a podcast of one of the Duggars that's gotten out. And he talked about how there would be crowds of millions of people. Like he specifically talked about India. And they would put the people who they quote unquote could, air quoting, heal in front. And those would be the people that got healed. But the people they knew they couldn't heal would be in the back. And it was usually not real healings. And so you said Todd White, and Todd White falls under that same category as Benny Hinn. And so here's where I struggle.
I would also like you to know that there is a local pastor that has said the same thing to me.
One you're talking
yes,
about.
you do.
Okay, got it.
So it's even closer to home. It's
right.
Even
So
to home.
I was getting ready to go there next. So one, I don't believe most of what those people in that arena say. But as far as like the local pastor who said it to you, I just keep coming back to this. Not all of us are called to the same thing. Like even in this right here, as it grows and as we continue and as we do it and as God develops it and we keep getting weird and we keep doing our thing, you're going to have a different gifting than I will. So why would our faith look exactly the same? Why would the outcome of our faith look exactly the same?
Well, I guess I wanted to push that because I just don't know that saying people don't have enough faith is super beneficial.
You're right. The leaves are distracting my brain.
I know. Oh, it's the outside leaves.
It's the
not
outside
your tree.
leaves. No, it's the literal leaves outside my window. So I've been thinking about that too. Like, have I been saying that wrong? And the problem is I've been in churches in my adulthood where people said, oh, miracles and casting out demons don't happen anymore. It's for that. It was for the Bible times.
Right.
And so that's where my thought of, and I'm just going to own it because I have said that, of we don't have enough faith. Meaning, and maybe that's not faith. Maybe it's, I feel like faith and belief are the same thing.
Well, that, the cessation, right? Is that what it's called? When you don't believe that the giftings are for modern times. I believe it's called cessation.
I have no clue what that's called.
I think that stems from a misinterpretation of scripture.
Oh, absolutely.
More than it does a lack of faith.
Right. So I was trying to switch the word from faith, but I feel like faith and belief are the same thing. And so my brain was trying to reconcile that really quick. But like,
they're pretty similar.
But like, we don't believe God is who he said he is. So therefore, how could God still do? Because we don't need him to be our daily bread. We don't need him to be our daily water. We don't need him because we all have homes and water and electricity. And
it's the audience you're talking to.
Yes.
I got you. Okay.
And so like I need to switch to, we don't have enough faith, but to maybe we don't understand the power of God because we don't need it.
Well, with that clarification, there are people that don't have enough faith, but that is, you're aiming it at those people, the people that believe that it doesn't happen anymore. Not the people that pray and ask for healing and don't get healed and then get told you don't have it. You didn't get healed because you have enough faith.
Right. Absolutely. No. If you prayed and didn't get healed, there's something else God is doing. Like I've begged for 9 years for God to do a miracle and heal my dad. I begged for 5 years for God to do a miracle and heal my sister. Like all of these different things. And God has continually said nothing.
What do you think the heart behind that? Because Jesus said that, right? If you have the faith of a mustard seed, what do you think the heart behind that was?
That's a struggle one that I haven't thought about. So I'm trying to think about it and not create dead air.
Well, I can just remove the dead air. That nifty little editing tool I found will automatically do it for me even.
You're a miracle worker. I gotta look that up because I need to read that scripture. Mustard seed. Let's do Matthew 17:20. Oh, look. We were in Matthew 24 today.
That baby rocked our world.
What?
Said the baby rocked our world.
As it should. So starting in chapter 17, verse 14. When they reached the crowd, a man approached and knelt down before him. Lord, he said, have mercy on my son, because he has seizures and suffers terribly. He often falls into the fire and often into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they couldn't heal him. Jesus replied, You unbelieving and perverse generation, how long will I be with you? How long must I put up with you? Bring him here to me. Then Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of him, and from that moment the boy was healed. Then the disciples approached Jesus privately and said, Why couldn't we drive out the demon? Because of your little faith, he told them. For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will tell this mountain, Move from here, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you.
Yeah, so he is basically telling them that their faith is smaller than a mustard seed.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's something that you are supposed to be doing that you don't have the faith to do?
Well, no, because of the prosperity gospel and my experience with people who believe that, that is one that has always stuck out to me. But what just hit me right there is he's calling out the apostles for their lack of belief, not the person who wanted to be healed.
Yeah.
So if you go to Benny Hinn and you don't get healed, whose faith is too small?
I mean, that man was a crook and a shyster. And no, I get it. Like,
if you're applying that verse to that situation, it's Benny Hinn's faith that's too small, right?
Well, yeah. I think about Pastor Igor and the stories that I've heard him tell about casting out demons. Gosh, that man's faith, that man's belief, that man's knowledge of God and relationship with God. Like, it's just something like, I wish they still lived here.
Well, and I've thought about going to his sermons, had me thinking a lot about it too, because he came from a different world than we do.
Yeah.
Because you're right, here in America, we don't need God.
No.
We have all of our needs provided for us.
Yeah.
At the tap of a button.
Absolutely. Like, I literally just Googled where that verse was on my phone and read it off my phone. So how do we need God? Like, the question then becomes, how do we pursue God if he's not all we need? Like, he's not the... Okay, I need to clarify. Yes, the Lord gives us our jobs, and yes, we keep our jobs, and God gives us the ability to pay our bills, and he's given us gifts and talents. But it is not like people in other countries where they don't have running water and they don't know where they're going to get water because they don't have clean water.
Right.
Like, how do we build a relationship with God? Oh my gosh, I started yawning. Yep, it's about that time. Every night. When we don't need him, when we are not like literally crying out for every single need, because it's so easy as for us to flip on a light switch and brew a cup of coffee and set up our Christmas decorations and eat leftovers and insert whatever here. How do we...
Sorry. I think
need God.
That comes with...
or choose him.
That's why we have to deny ourselves stuff. When here in America, we have to make the choice. It's like, okay, I'm going to go a week without Facebook. I'm going to go a week without music. I'm going to go a week without TV. Like, we have to work harder to deny ourselves than someone living in a third world country.
Because we don't know what dependence is.
Right.
And that's the gospel. Like, that's the other piece of the gospel that I think I've been struggling to figure out how to say is it's dependence on God. Like, once we've accepted Jesus, it's that dependence on God.
Right.
Because we needed God to reconcile.
Well, because I posed this question to you a while ago. And I asked Brady about it too. You and I were talking about like movies and music and stuff. And I asked you, so does that mean if we are living the way we're supposed to, that we stop watching all of that? The answer is yes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And how many of us want to?
I don't.
I don't. What else am I going to do?
Well,
I say, what else am I going to do? But I could read a book. I could read my Bible some more. I could
That's one of the reasons that the Orthodox and like the nun thing really interest me, because I like experimenting, and we talked about it in the Halloween episode too. The limit experiences. How do we do that but Christian? And fasting.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not good at fasting, like food.
No, I'm not either. Not with food. Not with food. I can do it with anything else. When God tells me, okay, you're not going to watch shorts for a week, got it, done, can do it. But when it comes to fasting with food, the longest I've made is like 36 hours.
Better than me.
And it got really emotional. And then I freaking binged on sugar and junk.
Do you think, now that we just rabbit trailed this all the way down to fasting, do you think that's why fasting is important? Because it breaks, like specifically not eating, it breaks down our dependence.
Yes.
And so we need to do it even though we don't want to?
Yes. It is, the way I've always looked at it is that it is, it's breaking your flesh, basically. I've had a more eloquent way to put it, but I can't poop it out of my mouth right now.
We're birthing word thoughts and pooping out of our mouth.
Yes.
Great. No, that, I don't think it needs to be eloquent. I think what you said is true. Like, my struggle is I hold on to this adage of I get hangry, which is true. I do get grumpy when I'm hungry, but that's where that fasting comes in, and that dependence on God to go, okay, Lord, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And I'm getting grumpy. I don't want to. So you're going to have to.
Right. It is obvious to me that I have a emotional dependence on food. I mean, I have physical dependence too, but for me, it's mostly emotional. When I'm emotional, I go to food, which that is the definition of a false idol.
Yep, I'm the same way. So I had to give up sugar. Because it wasn't just food. It was, I would go to chocolate and jelly beans and Skittles and like,
I mean, I do too, but
gummies and cookies and candies and cakes.
Yeah,
and...
I do too. I prefer garbage food if I'm gonna binge, but I've had instances where there's like only fruit in the house, or like there's something that is not necessarily junk food, and I still binge until my stomach hurts.
And then we feel worse.
Yeah.
And then we're kicking ourselves for doing it.
Right.
Like, it's this vicious mental cycle.
It is mastering discipline over your body.
Mm-hmm.
And over flesh, I would say over flesh. And I'm really bad at discipline, just in general. I don't have very good discipline.
I do in some areas. In some areas I don't.
Hardly any. I've made, so tomorrow will be a full week on the supplements.
Yeah.
I haven't missed yet. It's incredible. It's the best I've ever done on supplements.
I can't wait for you to get 2 months in and you haven't missed and you feel great.
But it's because I realized this before I came over here, actually. We were sitting here watching our trash reality TV. It's because I put the trust in someone else to tell me how to do this. Because when I do it on my own, I can't stick to it.
Yeah. I put my trust in her too. It was a great idea.
Well, but saying that is the obvious thing to pull from that is like, well, Jessica, duh. Let God tell you what to do.
Well, yeah, duh, like that's obvious, but I keep thinking about this story when we talk about let God tell you what to do of this guy who was on his roof and the flood was coming and like he's like, God save me, and he sends like a dinghy or whatever. Then he sends something bigger, and then he sends a giant thing or a helicopter or whatever. And he sends God sends three different things. He gets to heaven, he goes, why didn't you save me? And he goes, you didn't want to be saved,
Yeah.
essentially. Like, it makes me think about that. Like, sometimes what God sends us is a Dr. Jill. Sometimes what God sends us is a friend. Sometimes what God sends us is a divorce. Sometimes it's something going wrong.
So up until very recently, when I pray for an answer or healing or whatever I'm praying for, I have been praying like, God, just keep this between you and I. I don't want anyone else I don't want, and not because like, I mean, there probably is some vulnerability stuff to that too, but I've had this mindset about it like, I can only trust it if I know it comes directly from you. But that is a wrong way of thinking.
I wish it was that easy.
Well, yeah.
Like, okay, God, you're just going to whisper in my ear and tell me what to do. But instead, it's a nagging conviction. It's a friend saying
Or
something.
it's meeting Amber a year ago at Bible study and her being like, oh, I have this doctor, and then still taking 6 months to talk to the doctor.
And that's okay. I've been telling my family about Dr. Jill for years, so it's fine.
I'm just, every time you and I sit down to do this, I realize just so much about myself that makes me cringe.
Same. This is like peeling back the layers and being like, oh, I am actually kind of rotted.
Yeah, and I'll feel icky about it, and then this is one of the more frustrating things I experience in this Christian walk is that I will get convicted of something and or I'll be like I don't know when I'm supposed to be pulling out that I need to be obedient. Obviously, it has something to do with my health. And then I just don't do it.
Same. It's so frustrating and it's so hard because we have obeyed. Both of us at some point have obeyed and we've walked in obedience and we've seen the fruit and the joy and the benefits of that. But then we're like, oh, but it's too hard this time.
Yeah. We've become too soft.
Yeah, I have.
So I think about it like this moment has been coming up a lot in my head for the last few days. There was a moment towards the end of my ex living with me where I just was on the bathroom floor, like bawling. And I kept telling him, like, I am working so hard. I'm working so hard. And nobody is helping me. And just being really frustrated with, like, it was him specifically. Like, I would clean, I was working, I was paying the bill. Like, he worked too, but in a lot of ways I was carrying a lot and I didn't feel valued at all. And I struggle with that a lot. But when I like step back from it's gotten to the point where when I go down that hole, I feel God gently going like, it's not about you, Jessica. This isn't about you. If you would come to me when you need to feel valued, then you wouldn't struggle with looking for validation from the people around you.
I've been in that exact same boat. I think validation from the right people is okay. I think I want to challenge you to do something. because I think it would actually be super healing for you. And I've done it myself. I want you to ask God to show you where he was on that bathroom floor, in that bathroom, in that season, when you were sobbing on the ground because you were done, because you were tired, because you were overwhelmed, because you were giving everything and not getting anything.
So we've talked about, I think we've talked about this a lot. I talk about it with a lot of people because of the way that my brain works. You know, I am a very emotional person, but I also am a pretty analytical person.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to talking to God, I can talk to him all day. Hearing him is a struggle for me. And like,
because you have to shut your brain off to listen.
well,
And that's not easy to do.
no, I logically, I have come to the conclusion that Jesus is God. It is logical to me that that is the truth. When it comes to everything else, I struggle in that area.
Yeah.
Because I'm a selfish little human. It's like, okay, but why all this? That's why I understand when I understand people's struggles with free will and stupid people and evil people, because it is hard to wrap your brain around, like, we're here, we are here, and bad things happen, horrible things happen here. And it's hard, it's easy to spiral in a selfish loop into like, why did you do this to us, God?
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna push back because I saw you deviate.
From what?
My statement, you were like, I struggle to hear from God and rabbit trailed.
Well, I mean, it was an answer to that, though.
It kind of was. It kind of was. I'm gonna push you and challenge you to do it. I think I've told the story on here. If not, I know I've told it to you. But um, when I got home, I asked God, where were you in the midst of that? Specifically, like when I couldn't walk because my back was thrown out, and God showed me where he was, and he showed me how he held me up. And I know that, like, what I describe is different than you crying on the bathroom floor, but mental abuse is still abuse. And so, like, I think if you saw God next to you and you actually talked to God and you allowed space for God to show you where he was and how he was right next to you, it would shift your not logical side of this relationship.
That it was an answer in that I've prayed those kinds of things before, Amber, and I struggle to, I don't feel like I hear God. Like, I don't.
Does he show you in pictures anything?
The way that I believe God communicates with me is I don't get instant gratification when I'm sitting there praying. Like, it's only happened one time that I can think of, and it's when I was freaking out that my dog was going to die. But beyond that, it's like, I don't get answers when I pray. I get them a week later or a month later or like a year later.
Same.
And it's not like, it never, I don't, it is, I'll have a moment where it's like the puzzle piece falls into place. It's like, oh, I see why this chain of events had to unfold the way that it was.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that that's God communicating with me, but I don't like saying that God talks to me because that doesn't adequately express how I interact with him and he interacts with me. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. You're not the only one who feels that way, because I'll talk to God about something. Clearly, I just said it, praying for a miracle for my dad for years, and it's not happening. And I'll pray for things like, honestly, I prayed for God to do something in my marriage for almost decade, and I was married for almost a decade. Like, my marriage was trash from the beginning. There's some things he's never answered.
How did we get here?
I don't know, because we were talking about the gospel, and now we're talking about what it's like to have a relationship with Jesus. So it has to do with the gospel. Okay? That's how I'm tying that in. But like, I just know one of the biggest pieces of my healing, and maybe it's not for you, is it took a lot of like not letting my mind race, asking God where he was, and just sitting in that. Sorry, I yawned again, to get that answer. And maybe it's not going to be the same way that he talks to me that he talks to you. It's not everybody, like, he doesn't talk to us the same way. And there's only been twice that I've heard his voice. And both times it was either sacrifice something or sacrifice something. And it was all in the last 6 years. So it's not like it's been my whole life that I've been walking around going, yeah, I talk to God and I hear God and he talks to me and I've heard his voice, and God talks to me through discernment more than he does his voice.
When you pray, what does it look like?
A giant hot mess of a journal.
Is that how you always pray? Is in the prayer journal?
For the most part, I pray a lot of things. Some days it's like 2 pages, some days it's 4, some days it's 1 page, but this is how I start my morning. I'll also just randomly talk to God. Like, Jessica, you've heard me when we're doing something and I'll just start randomly saying things to the Lord. I'll do that as well. Like, but when I'm digging deep into something, it's usually in my prayer journal, and I really don't want people to look in this.
Well, I asked that because I think I got the answer to where I need obedience, discipline, where I need discipline, which is in my prayer life. Because I pray, but there's no like ritual to it. I'll do it as I'm doing other things. And I've talked to my friend Athena about this too. She told me she was like, she would start, when she started praying, she was doing it on her commute to work. And then she told me, like, it just didn't feel respectful enough that she needed to set time aside to pray. And that smacked me in the face when she said it.
So do you set time aside to spend time with the Lord, whether that's in prayer or Bible reading or both, where it's intentionally that's the time?
I mean, I guess not really, but because I have spent so much time by myself for the last 6 years, I'm praying a lot. Like, I'm talking to God a lot because I'm by my freaking self. I'm not going to talk to myself.
I mean, I do that too.
I mean, I do it too, but I get really bored of myself very quickly now.
Same.
So,
because I wonder if that's like setting aside that specific time. So I think it's okay to have routine. I wake up, obviously go to the bathroom, because all of us do that first thing in the morning. Maybe not everybody, but I do. And then I come out here and I make a cup of coffee. I make a bagel and I sit down with my Bible and I spend time in the Word of God. And then I end with prayer time after my brain's been able to wake up for a minute. And then I end. And that is where I pour out the things that are just heavy on my heart that I can't seem to let go of. And then throughout the day, I'll talk to God about things like new clients or whatever I'm doing, or like you've heard me like randomly praying for spouses or whatever that is. But like, I know that when I don't, like, I tend to struggle on Saturdays and Sundays, setting aside that time because I'm like, oh, it's Saturday, I have all day. Instead of just going, I'm going to do my normal routine. I feel the shift in the difference in not having that dedicated time.
When I sit down specifically to pray, my brain wanders so hard and I get really antsy, and it's like, I would rather be doing anything other than this. And it feels counterproductive. I know it's a discipline thing, but it's like I have better conversations with him when I am just working or like in the shower. When I sit down specifically to pray, it just
When you sit down and make that dedicated time, are you having the same conversations that you do when you're working and in the shower? Or are you trying to make it more holy and more reverent and more...
I've done it both ways. I've tried to do it both ways.
Like, in all honesty, if you looked at my prayer journal, it looks like I'm talking to my best friend. And I think that's the key, at least for me, is one, I, like you, when I sat down to pray, my brain would be like, okay, great, I'm done. I, writing them out for the last, I don't know how many years, has helped me focus. Also, the other thing I recommend, I know everybody says put your phone away, do this, do that, is if something hits your brain and it won't leave your brain in the middle of your prayer, just deal with it. Make a note of it. Or if it's like, oh, hey, I need to do this, really quick, set an alarm on your phone to remind you to go do something when it's time and appropriate, and then come back to praying. God is fully aware that he created us and our brains, so he knows how they work. And clearly that came to you in the middle of your praying. So one, he was probably reminding you about it, but two, he knows. And have the random conversations with him.
It's mostly when I sit down to, so I've got a space that my phone has never been in, and it's like, it's a prayer closet. And I was going in there a lot. I haven't been in there in a minute. But I would go in there and try to pray, but it's like, I've been talking to you about these things all day. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. Okay, so I'll try to pray for other people. When I try to pray for other people, I don't know how to pray for them, because in my brain it just goes, it's like, God, you know what they need. And I don't know. I'm just here, and like, this is so the praying in tongues thing. I've considered that a lot, in that I kind of wonder if there's not two kind of different things going on, where like you have the apostles who were speaking different languages or whatever, but then when you sit down with God and it looks different for everybody, you have a way that you communicate. The Holy Spirit communicates with him through you. And sometimes I sit down and it's just, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I get this feeling in my throat where it's like I can't talk. And I've always wondered if that is the enemy trying to keep me from talking, or God shutting me up so the Holy Spirit can pray instead.
That's interesting. I do agree we all have a different way we talk to the Lord, because we're all different individual creatures. So are you thinking like there's the praying in tongues thing, and like there's something to that, and maybe that's something you've never explored before? Or...
Well, I've thought about it. You are really quiet. I guess we're both kind of really quiet.
I keep leaning forward.
So I told you that the church that I have experience in as a teenager, they did the praying in tongues thing, and the pastor would pray in tongues before the congregation, and it always made me uncomfortable. And then as an adult, I had an encounter with someone who told me that they could activate praying in tongues. And I was told basically just open your mouth and whatever comes out, that's you praying in tongues. And like, I did it, but it felt really, and not like an emotion feeling, but like I knew that I didn't think I could trust it, because I had no control over what was coming out of my mouth, and I didn't like that at all. Like, that didn't seem like didn't seem right to me, and I don't know. It the whole experience around that just skews me out. So I stopped doing that. And my mom and I have talked about it because she still prays in tongues. So I asked her when we went to New Mexico, I was like, well, I just asked her, like, what does it look like when you pray in tongues? Does it look like what I've seen these pastors do in the church? And she told me that it doesn't. And then I asked her the same thing. It's like, well, do you think that we each individually have a different way of communicating, like a prayer language, so to speak? We have a unique prayer language. And once I started thinking about that, I've wondered if, because doesn't the Bible say somewhere something about like groans and being prayer, like the Holy Spirit? Amber's shaking her head. Yes, I mean.
Yeah. I realized I was not speaking
It's
words.
okay. Well, we're having a conversation now. So I've wondered if, I'm just speaking through it right now. I talk a lot. So I guess it would make sense where there are times when God is just like, Jessica, shush, let me do it.
Possibly, but I want to touch on something. Speaking in tongues, including praying in tongues, if it is verbal and out loud, needs to have an interpreter. No matter what kind of tongues it is.
Well, I'm switching. I'm pulling the two things apart.
Right, I know, but your example was, he said I could, like, whatever came out was praying in tongues, and so it was out loud, correct?
Yes.
You still have to have an interpreter. Like, I believe there is a heavenly prayer language that the Holy Spirit translates our hearts and our prayers to the Lord in that manner. But if it is out loud, if you are speaking words, it has to be you have to be able to translate it. There has to be somebody who translates what was said.
Even if you're just by yourself?
I don't pray in tongues. I've never figured out the praying in tongues thing. I've never, like, I have some pretty strong stances on speaking in tongues, and so I've never thought about praying in tongues, so I don't know. But, like,
I mean, because I agree, and especially in a public setting, you have to have an interpreter. But there are circles of Christians that will pick it apart and be like, well, I mean, and say that when it's just you and God, that is it. It's different.
Yeah, I don't know. This is gonna have to be something that I dig into and pray about. And
I'll tell you this too. I'll tell you where it came from later. But I've heard it said. I'll tell you after. This isn't for the podcast thing. I'll tell you after.
Okay.
So remind me. Anyway, the gospel.
The gospel. I mean, such an interesting conversation. And we started with what is the gospel to literally discipleship.
Well, and then of course it turns into a freaking therapy session for Jessica. You got to stop letting this happen.
Nope.
I don't like it.
I don't enjoy it when it's my turn.
When has it been your turn yet?
That episode that I lost.
I know. It's always me in the hot seat. And I do it to myself, but like
I do it to myself too. Like, I own things. No, I think it was a cool conversation that started with what is the gospel, fleshing that out to how do we live out the gospel? And that's where we ended, is how do we live out the gospel?
And then we
marrow from joint.
Yeah. Wait, what?
From the sword of the
marrow from bone.
And I saw it marrow from joint earlier.
Same thing.
That's why I said it that way. And it's rightly dividing the word of God, like, as part of it. And this making disciples is part of the gospel. And so these conversations are how we live out the gospel. And we prepare to share the gospel. Because if we're not growing closer to the Lord, we're not able to do it.
Yeah.
How much time have we been yammering?
Oh, an hour, 41 minutes. So I think I'm ready to be done.
Okay.
Are you?
Pretty good. Yes. That was a hard one. We like to have hard conversations on this podcast.
When it's just you and me, evidently, we get really in the weeds.
But that's what this is for.
No, but I'm really uncomfortable with it tonight. Can you see it on me?
I can. Okay, so because Jessica's uncomfortable and because I think we've covered this topic well, you're going to have to tell us if we did or not. We're glad you're here. It's about being honest. Oh, not about having the answers. Because grace doesn't start with those who have it all figured out. It starts with we who are not.
I don't feel like we talked about the gospel at all.
We did.
We'll have to prepare better and actually, but anyways, whatever. It is what it is. Good night, people.